The Knight-Hennessy Scholarship at Stanford University is a fully funded scholarship, and in this video series I'm going to be breaking it down to you to help you win and get the scholarship. So many of my students have gotten the MEX Japanese government scholarship and are going to be on planes heading to Japan in April 2027. I've been in this space for more than 10 years. I'm a full-time fully funded scholarship grantee, so take it from me when I tell you that I know what I am talking about. I'm going to be breaking it down to you. So this is going to be part one of either a 4-part or a 5-part series, and I have prepared a ton of worksheets to help you brainstorm your way throughout this process, because it can be confusing. So do want to like this video, save this video, let me know in the comment section, are you interested in applying for the scholarship? Also go ahead and get yourself those worksheets, because all of these things that I'm breaking it down, you all know how right now you cannot apply for anything that is AI helps you. So what this worksheet does is it helps you pull the answer, think through, pull the answers from your brain and write perfect paragraphs for each part of the application. And it is only in writing those perfect paragraphs for each part of the application that you are going to have a strong application as a whole. So do want to go ahead and get those worksheets. One thing that I want you all straight off the back to know about this scholarship is that you are practically doing 2 applications at the same time. You're applying to Stanford University as well as you're applying for the Knight-Hennessy Scholarship. It is important that you know how you're going to waive this dual applications into one time, but still remembering that these are 2 different ecosystems that are existing side by side to each other, because that is one of the most confusing things that students actually go through when they are doing this application. Here you can see a student says here that I've drafted my letter probably 15 times, the SOP and the community question. It was an insane application process. Why? That is because you are practically applying for 2 different things, but it's like it's one thing, but it's 2 different things, and they are going to be analyzed very differently. So it's really exhaustive. So the core insight that you should have here is that applying to the Knight-Hennessy and Stanford process simultaneously often traps applicants in a cycle of endless rewriting, confusing deadlines, and narrative redundancies. So what I want to do here is actually really explain to you how you are applying for 2 different processes, but it is the same scholarship, and it's the same scholarship, but each of the different application processes have their own things that they are looking for and what they expect from you. Even just thinking about it in my head, I'm just like, oh my goodness, I already feel bad for those that are going to be applying for this scholarship. Like, there are so many things that you have to think about. So you have your concurrent but separate. So you have the Knight Scholars application going on its own, and then you have the Stanford graduate degree program going on its own. So you must apply to and be accepted by and enroll in a full-time Stanford graduate degree program to be a Knight-Hennessy Scholar. KHS cannot admit you to Stanford. So you practically are applying to Stanford University on your own, and then you are applying for the scholarship. So let's break it down. The first thing that you have to make sure is that you are first of all eligible for the scholarship. Okay, so we have here the eligibility decision tree. So are you applying for a full-time program at Stanford? If it is no, you're ineligible. If it is yes, good job, you are eligible. Is it an excluded program? So you have, not all programs are actually part of the Knight-Hennessy Scholars program. So you have to make sure that the program that you're applying for is part of they can be funded by the Knight-Hennessy program. So if you are applying for an excluded program, if it is yes, you are going to be ineligible for it. For example, Masters in Legal Studies, PhD, Science of Law, you are going to be excluded, okay? But if that's not the case, when did you earn your bachelor's degree? It must be within 7 years, and if it is outside of that, if you're older, you're ineligible. So if you meet all of these things that I've just said, then you are eligible to apply for the scholarship. It's important that you have that cleared out, because that is going to sort of make you know that, all right, you are definitely a candidate to apply for the scholarship, but whichever ones comes first. So we'll look at the whichever occurs first rule, okay? So something that you have to know is there is an anchor deadline regardless of whatever it is that you're doing, and that is November. You have to always remember November. So the dependency to remain eligible for the KHS, your Stanford graduate degree program, must be submitted by the earlier than 2 dates, the department specific deadlines as well as early December. I think that the date is actually October, because October is the deadline to apply for the scholarship. So even if your department says that the deadline to apply for our department is is January 2027. As long as the deadline for the Knight-Hennessy Scholarship is October, you need to finish your application by October. So you have to make sure that you remember whatever deadline that Knight-Hennessy put, you have to fast track whatever application it is that you're doing to make sure that you meet the timeline of the Knight-Hennessy Scholars program, because that is the important funding that you need in order to do your studies. Okay, so mapping your submission track. So you have here track A, MBA exception. Those are the people on a different timeline. And then you have the track B, the standard programs. At the end of the day, just as I explained, you have to think about that October deadline. No matter when your program says that, if the deadline is, know that the Knight-Hennessy deadline, that is the deadline that you have to think about. And then the other thing that you have to always remember, you're applying for two. We already spoke about the deadlines, right? Like there are two deadlines, but there is actually only one deadline. And then now let's talk about the evaluation. There are two evaluations, and there is two evaluations actually. So you have the KHS evaluator, then you have the Stanford Department Evaluator. Okay, so the trap is assuming that the KHS committee and the department committee read your applications together as one file. They don't. So the reality is that the reviews take place concurrently but separately. You have different boards that are doing this review, so they are doing it separately. The connection KHS periodically checks with the Stanford department strictly to verify competitiveness. That is ensuring KHS does not advance a candidate the department intends to reject. So it is not actually checking with them to sort of see if whatever it is that you submitted, reviewing your essays. No, they're just checking to be like, is this candidate going to be going to the next level? And if this candidate is going to be going to the next level, then okay, it is okay for us to pick this candidate and grant the candidate the scholarship. So the evaluations are different. The deadline is two different deadlines, but it is one deadline. That is what you have to remember. Then you have the narrative Venn diagram, how you have to think about your application. What is the strategy that you should employ for each of them? So you have the KHS, it's the broad horizon. So you are checking for independence of thought, purposeful leadership, civic mindset. You have to demonstrate empathy, a low ego, and a drive to solve global challenges. But now let's look at the department. In the department, they are looking at deep expertise with reference to your topic, specific subject knowledge, academic rigor, research methodology. You have to demonstrate technical competence and precise program in that particular program. So this is so confusing if you're applying for this scholarship. God help you, because you have to be thinking for the scholarship, you're thinking broadly. For the department, you have to be thinking like deeply. So you have this breadth and width that has to go together. And I'm like, oh Lord. So the unified core here is that the foundational why that fuels both your academic research and your global leadership ambitions, it has to be the same, because whatever it is that fuels you should be what is fueling you to get good at your major, as well as it is what is fueling you to help you solve whatever problems that are in the world. So now let's look at the evaluator, just so that you are clear. The KHS, the Knight-Hennessy evaluator, they are looking for courageous, collaborative leaders, interdisciplinary curiosity. The tone has to be visionary, reflective, community-oriented. The key question that they're asking is, will this person use their expertise to effect positive, scalable change? That is what they are asking. Scalable, such a Stanford word to use. I was in Stanford last year, and I spoke to some of the professors, attended some programs there, and you can really tell how Silicon Valley mindset, startup, business, scale, global it is. Here they're already talking about how scalable is it that of whatever it is that you want to do. And then you have the Stanford Department Evaluator. They're looking for technical competence, research potential, disciplinary dedication. The tone has to be analytical, precise, academically grounded. And the key question that they're trying to answer is, will this person succeed in our rigorous academic environment? So you see that you're applying for one program, but you're actually applying for two programs. And you have to be able to, let's say you're working on your application, there should be a time where you wear your Stanford application hat and then you take it off, and you go at a different time and you wear your Knight-Hennessy evaluation hat, because those are the two hats that you have to be popping in and out of in order to be sure of what you're doing. I'm going to make sure that the worksheet you will see it clearly delineated, so that it can help you switch in between those thought processes and you do not get confused. Okay, now let's look at the recommenders. It's crazy because it is the same thing with the recommenders. So for the department, you are looking for recommenders that prioritizes voices that can speak specifically to your academic rigor, research capability, and technical skill. Remember, we already spoke that what the department is looking for is depth in your subject matter. So they want you to have a recommender who speaks to that depth in your subject matter. For the Knight-Hennessy Scholarship, they are looking for voices that can attest to your character, civic mindset, and instances where you demonstrated purposeful leadership. So even in is the same scholarship, but it's different mindsets as you go ahead to look for who is going to recommend you. And for example, if someone is like your supervisor, your academic supervisor, that person can recommend you for your department work. But maybe if there is someone that you have worked with who has seen you maybe become someone who leads things in your office or whatever, that person is rather a good person to recommend you for your Knight-Hennessy Scholarship application. As I said already, you are practically swinging your head between two different mindsets as you go through this one application, okay? But of course, there are some things that are shared, like the things that are shared. So you have shared logistics. While narratives must diverge, data overlaps. The KHF follows and practices your specific graduate degree program. So you have the transcripts, you have to submit the same transcript. The text course, you have to submit the same text course. English proficiency, you have to submit the same English proficiency to both of the both for the Knight-Hennessy Scholarship as well as for the Stanford application. So now let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up by thinking about all of the things that you have to think about as you go through this application. Number one, you have to remember that you're wearing two different hats as well as wearing the same hat at the same time. Your head has to, this is my Knight-Hennessy hat, and then this is my Stanford hat. You have to be swinging your head between both, okay? You have to sing your timeline. Remember, the anchor is October, regardless of whatever it is, the anchor is October. Let the department prove that you have the technical rigor to be at Stanford. So it is important that you show to your department why they should sort of grant you admission, and then let your KHS application show that you have the vision and character to get the scholarship. So you have to remember these things as you go. As I told you already, this is part one of like either a 4 or 5 part series, depending on how I break it down. You all get the worksheets. This is a very amazing fully funded scholarship that is going to put you at the heart of Silicon Valley. It's going to put you at the heart of studying in the US, being in California. So I definitely I want you all to get the scholarship. So you all take the worksheets, use them throughout your applications, subscribe to this channel, turn the notifications on, come back week to week, and use all the guides that I'm going to be providing here to make sure that you submit stellar applications, okay? I'm going to see you all in the next one. Do well to like this video, save this video, share this video. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.